If you're a fan of the U.S. men's national team, it's time to wake up right now. Because while everyone was distracted by Inter Miami highlights and Messi celebrations, U.S. soccer quietly dropped something massive. The official schedule for the road to 2026 is out. And honestly, it's terrifying. This is no longer CONCACAF comfort mode. No easy wins, no tune-up games, no safety net. In March, the U.S. faces Belgium and Portugal. In June, right before the World Cup kicks off on home soil, the final send-off match is against Germany. Let that sink in. This isn't preparation. This is survival. New head coach Mauricio Pochettino has been very clear. He wants elite competition. Well, mission accomplished. Because in a 3-month stretch, the USMNT is about to line up against Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, and Jamal Musiala. World-class midfields, Champions League pace, zero mercy. And here's the part nobody is talking about. Today is December 18th. That puts us 6 months away from the opening match of the 2026 World Cup. 6 months. After what we just watched at the international level in Qatar, one serious question has to be asked. Is the U.S. actually ready for this moment? Or are we about to get exposed on our own field in front of the world? Because hosting a World Cup doesn't guarantee respect. Respect is earned. And this schedule, this is the ultimate test. So buckle up, because the road to 2026 just turned brutal. Before we even start talking about Christian Pulisic or the final USMNT roster, we need to talk about what happened yesterday in Doha. Because that game wasn't just another international final. It was a warning. Paris Saint-Germain just won the FIFA Intercontinental Cup, beating Flamengo on penalties. And on the surface, that sounds like a normal result. European giant beats South American champion. Nothing new. But if you're an American soccer fan, that match should make you uncomfortable. Why? Because of the pace. From the opening minutes, PSG played at a level of speed and intensity that Flamengo struggled to match. Vitinha controlled the midfield like it was training. Ousmane Dembélé repeatedly blew past defenders who are considered elite in South America. And let's be clear, this Flamengo backline is better than most MLS defenses. That's just reality. Here's where it gets scary for the U.S. men's national team. The USMNT still relies heavily on MLS players for depth, especially off the bench and in rotation roles. And we've seen this movie before. Against top European competition, American defenders have struggled with elite speed and decision-making. We've watched guys like Robinson and Zimmerman get exposed when the tempo jumps from CONCACAF level to World Cup level. What PSG showed yesterday is that the gap still exists. That so-called Euro step isn't closing as fast as people want to believe. If Flamengo, the best team in South America, could barely hang on for 120 minutes, what happens when the USMNT lines up against Germany in Chicago this June? That won't be a friendly, that will be a stress test. Germany's midfield will move the ball faster, press harder, and punish mistakes instantly. And if Mauricio Pochettino is watching that Doha match closely, one thing should be obvious. The U.S. midfield isn't fast enough, yet. Not in transition, not in recovery, not when the game turns chaotic. Talent alone won't save you at a World Cup. Hosting doesn't protect you. And hype definitely doesn't win duels in the middle of the field. Pochettino has 6 months to fix this. 6 months to raise the tempo, 6 months to close the gap. Because what we saw in Doha wasn't just PSG lifting a trophy, it was a preview of what happens when speed meets hesitation, and hesitation loses every time. So the real question is this: what is Mauricio Pochettino actually going to do? Because now, everything changes. The March camp in Atlanta is no longer just another international window. It is officially the most important 10 days in modern U.S. soccer history. This is where the direction of the 2026 World Cup team gets decided. Pochettino is standing at a crossroads, and he has to make a brutal choice. Does he stick with the familiar core, guys like Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Serginho Dest? Or does he tear it down and start reshaping the team around something different? Because loyalty doesn't win World Cups. Fitness, pace, and execution do. And here's what's interesting. Rumors coming out of the Federation suggest Pochettino isn't just looking for talent anymore. He's looking for specialists, players who can run, players who can press, players who can survive 90 minutes at European tempo without their legs falling off. That's why European-based players like Yunus Musa are relatively safe. They live in that speed every week. They train in chaos. They recover faster. They think faster. And that's also why a lot of MLS players are officially on the bubble. This isn't an attack on MLS. It's reality. International soccer doesn't wait for you to settle into the game. It punishes hesitation immediately. Now look at the schedule. Belgium and Portugal, back to back, in Atlanta. That is not a coincidence. This isn't about winning friendlies. This is a depth test. Because we all know the truth. Tyler Adams is elite when healthy. But injuries are part of his story now, and Pochettino has to plan for that. So here's the nightmare scenario. If Adams goes down, again, who is the true number 6? Not a stopgap, not a vibes pick. A real defensive midfielder who can break lines, cover ground, and survive against world-class playmakers. Because if the U.S. doesn't have that answer by March 28th against Belgium, Kevin De Bruyne is going to eat this midfield alive. Belgium won't be patient. Portugal won't slow down. They will force turnovers. They will isolate defenders. And they will punish mistakes instantly. And that's the point. This schedule wasn't designed to build confidence. It was designed to expose weaknesses. Every gap in the roster, every fitness issue, every lack of depth. Pochettino knows this. Atlanta is where players either prove they belong at a World Cup or quietly play themselves out of the picture. There are no more free passes. No more, he knows the system. No more protecting egos. Because in 2026, the world is coming to American soil. And if the U.S. wants to be taken seriously, the standard has to change now. March isn't about results. It's about survival. And one way or another, this schedule is going to tell us the truth about the USMNT, whether we're ready for the moment or still chasing it. Now, let's sprinkle a little hope on this fire. While the U.S. is stressing about defense, depth, and midfield speed, the GOAT just gave American soccer fans the signal we've been waiting for. This week, Lionel Messi finally said the words that matter. I hope I can be there. That's not a full commitment, but it's definitely not a no. Messi is 38 years old. He just won the MLS Cup. He's still putting up MVP-level numbers, and every time he steps on the field, the game still bends around him. For the United States, this is enormous. A World Cup on home soil doesn't just need stars. It needs history. And nothing brings global attention like Messi showing up one last time in an Argentina jersey. But here's the twist. It also adds pressure. Because now imagine this scenario. Round of 16, Dallas, USA versus Argentina. Christian Pulisic on one side, Lionel Messi on the other. That's not just a soccer match. That's a global event. The kind that pulls in casual fans, celebrities, and the entire sports world. If Messi plays, the entire tournament shifts. It stops being an American party and becomes a historic moment. And honestly, I think he plays. You don't sign an extension with Inter Miami through 2028 if you're planning to quietly fade away. You do that if you're setting the stage for one final run. One last World Cup. One last spotlight. One last chapter. And if that chapter happens in the United States, then 2026 isn't just our World Cup, it's everyone's. So here's where we stand. It's December 18th, 2025. The U.S. men's national team has the hardest friendly schedule in its history. We have a head coach who's still figuring out his best 11, and we have the entire world watching, waiting to see if the United States can actually play, or if we're just really good at marketing the sport. There's no hiding anymore. The next 6 months will define the next 20 years of soccer in this country. If the U.S. goes out in June and gets crushed by Germany, the panic will be real. The pressure will explode. Every roster decision will be questioned. But if we can stand toe-to-toe with them, if we can match the tempo, survive the midfield battle, and look like we belong, then maybe, just maybe, 2026 becomes our moment. This schedule is a gamble. There's no safety net. So I want to know what you think. Was this schedule a mistake? Should U.S. soccer have played easier teams to build confidence? Or do we need to get punched in the mouth by Germany to finally wake up? Drop your take in the comments. I'm reading every single one. Don't forget to like and subscribe as we count down to the World Cup. Class dismissed.